Let's talk a little Gerrit Cole before we get into that. Get your take on it. I've checked in on the Cole situation before the show. They are still locked, the Pirates and the Yankees, in a kind of standoff. There's a deal there to be made if the Yankees want to give up Gleyber Torres, which they don't. Of course, you know, if the Pirates wanted to lower their demands, they could do it. But what's happened is now other teams, Texas, Seattle, the Cubs, are now trying to jump in because they're looking for starting pitching, and they don't like the cost of the starting pitching out in the free agent market area. They're looking for $30 million plus, and Yu Darvish too. So, having said all that, you're a Pirates aficionado. Give me your thoughts on Gerrit Cole and his fit with the Yankees.
I think Yankee fans would absolutely love Gerrit Cole here. He's only 2 years removed from winning 19 games. Last season, he went over 200 innings. He is a bulldog of a starter and seems to rise to the occasion the bigger the game is. I think he would thrive on New York pressure. I think, frankly, he wants to be a Yankee. He got frustrated in Pittsburgh because when he had that big year, they didn't tear up his contract and give him a new one. They like the fact that he's a barking guy under control. This is a #1 starter that you don't find a lot of in the majors at an affordable rate. He would slot in right behind Severino. I think he would absolutely rise to the occasion. The question is what the Yankees want to give up and what the Pirates want to give up. And the Pirates feel they can afford to wait because the demand for Cole is only going to grow as time progresses. And you know Brian Cashman plays the game better than anybody. Sure. He can wait too. Torres, I believe, is off the table. But there are enough chips in the Yankee system to make a deal with the Pirates. And I recently heard that Josh Harrison is now getting involved in the mix, which maybe means Andujar becomes part of this. And all of a sudden, you're talking about a bigger deal. But Gerrit Cole would be welcomed, I think, into that Yankee rotation.
I think he's absolutely a key cog that could put them to that very next level. You talk about all the things they did for the offense. Yes, that's great. But we know that pitching breaks down easier than most. And in New York, you need to have those starters. And to have somebody like Gerrit Cole, way better to me than Sonny Gray. He's a guy out there with that plus stuff across the board. And yes, I understand about pitching and maybe raising your game. He did pitch to a 4.5 ERA in Pittsburgh. You've got to have that inside of you to say, hey, you know what? I'm pitching for the other 29 teams. It may not be working out here in Pittsburgh, but I need to see that kind of a bulldog mentality that, you know what? I'm going to stand out every time I'm on the mound and show why I don't belong in Pittsburgh. Nobody wants to be in Pittsburgh for very long when things aren't going right. They had a nice shot at doing some good things, but they could never get over the hump. Gerrit Cole would be a tremendous acquisition if he gets the Yankees, but it's going to cost them a lot, and I think that's where the price tag is hung up on.
Well, I agree. John, your case was so strong, however, that halfway through it I got a little suspicious that you weren't some kind of ringer trying to run up his value. It's like, I'm thinking, is this guy just trying to get Gleyber Torres on the Pirates? Is that what you're doing? I mean, look.
And Andujar.
And you throw in Dylan Tate and Sheffield.
I'll take Adams, too.
And why not Stanton, too? I mean, but look, this is clearly two teams that are locked in a value stalemate. And I think what's interesting, too, is what it says about Clint Frazier's value. This deal could probably get done right now if the Pirates would take Clint Frazier as the centerpiece of it. And it tells you that as much as Yankee fans want to make him some kind of star of the future, the evaluators and teams are very divided on Frazier. But, John, it does sound like as a Pirates fan, you'd be happy with a package built around Frazier, some others possibly. You don't need Gleyber Torres in that, which is interesting.
Well, I prefer Torres for sure, but when you look at Frazier, you're getting a young outfielder with a ton of potential. But the Pirates have been built around young outfielders with a ton of potential in Marte and Polanco and now the aging McCutchen. I think if Frazier comes, there's no place to put him right now unless they deal McCutchen.
But you can't worry about that too much, the young under control player, right? I mean, you figure, you put him in the minors for a couple months.
Yeah, but the Pirates are in sort of a win-now mode more than ever.
Good luck with that, by the way.
I know, it doesn't work out very well. But when you look at Frazier, he's sort of the square peg in the round hole, whereas Torres or Andujar, they have holes in the infield. They can make that happen. So I think if this deal does happen with Frazier involved, I think Andrew McCutchen has to be on his way out of town. And plus, they have Austin Meadows, who's their top prospect in AAA. And, Jim, you know he knows Frazier pretty well.